Russia's crimes on Ukrainian territory, starting with the occupation of Crimea, will never be accepted by the international community, the President of Ukraine stated during his speech on the third parliamentary summit.
The criminal must not win this war. We must endure the battles going on now in Ukraine and the battles taking place in the realm of diplomacy. Russia is evading real diplomacy and won't give back what it has stolen, but we need to compel it to do so. In other words, we need to strengthen Ukraine and our common positions. Ukraine has presented its partners with a victory plan containing everything necessary to deprive Russia of any alternatives it currently expects other than a just peace.
A just peace is the main goal for Ukraine today. It can be realized by implementing the victory plan presented by Volodymyr Zelenskyy. This is the only way, in his view, to deprive Russia of the alternatives it relies on and to force it to accept a just peace.
We will see the peace formula realized. We will see the goals and principles of the UN Charter fully restored. Today, on the International Day of the UN, it is especially necessary to emphasize this. This needs to be said when the purpose for which the UN was created is defended not by the UN Security Council or even UN officials, but by cooperation formats such as the Crimean Platform or the Peace Summit. And I would like to remind the international bureaucracy and political leaders that today is UN Day worldwide, not somewhere in Kazan.
The victory plan consists of 5 points and 3 secret annexes. The first, the main and perhaps the most discussed, is Ukraine's invitation to NATO. The second is defense. The third is Russian Federation deterrence. The fourth point of the Ukrainian plan provides for economic cooperation. The fifth is security. Experts believe Russia can no longer ignore the presented plan, or rather the support this document has received from the world community.
At the BRICS summit, during his statements, Putin no longer issued any ultimatums or preconditions, but this is Putin. Everything he says should be taken very seriously. And for Putin to agree to negotiate, he needs to demonstrate strength and be compelled to negotiate. Then he will be more compliant and peaceful. And, by the way, this is exactly what the victory plan aims at. The essence of this plan is to maximize the cost of the war for Russia and to compel Putin to accept peace, to end the war, but to force him through military pressure.
None of the 5 points of victory is possible without their consolidated support and assistance of Western partners. Today, Ukraine needs more military assistance, noted the chairman of the Верховна Рада of Ukraine, Ruslan Stefanchuk.
I ask each of you to help increase military support for Ukraine. Ukrainian cities need air defense systems. We need to finally secure the skies and protect our citizens. I ask you to help authorize Ukraine's neighboring EU and NATO countries to shoot down enemy missiles and drones that reach the western borders of our country. It is important for us to lift any restrictions on the provision and use of long-range weapons against legitimate military facilities and targets in the territory of the Russian Federation. We are awaiting additional decisions regarding the supply of F-16 aircraft.
The need to support Ukraine was also previously stated by US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin.
We need to reduce tensions in the Middle East and find a way to achieve a transition period in Ukraine. We will continue to support Ukraine as we have said, and they will determine when it is time to sit down at the negotiating table. But I've said it before, this conflict will end with negotiations at some point. Lloyd Austin, United States Secretary of Defense, the Pentagon Press Service reports.
As a reminder, in October 2024, US President Joe Biden announced a new $425 million aid package. It includes additional air defense, air-to-ground munitions, armored vehicles, and critical munitions urgently needed on the front lines. Reported by Bastun Katerina, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.